Good morning. I hope everybody's well. And unfortunately, in true me fashion, I'm starting today's video, which is actually our first ever content video with an apology. It's literally the last day of the month, and the last commitment that I made was that we're going to get 2 videos per month. Technically, it is 2 videos per month because I did do an intro video and now I'm doing the content video. But as with many things, life happens, life has happened, and we're only getting one video for this month. Going forward, I'll make up for this. So for today, anyway, apologies aside and whatever, I just thought for foundation, just take things to the beginning. Start with a literal foundation, and also just start off on a very simple note, just lay the talent corner with Boyang channel off properly, and we're going to be talking about CVs. Another reason is, guys, as many times as I feel like there's platforms where there's sharings, the rights, the wrongs, the do's, the don'ts, when it comes to resumes or CV, whatever you want to call it, people are still getting it wrong. I'm still doing hirings and just seeing things, shocks. But hopefully today we will cover and try sort that out for people who are still struggling. Even if you're not struggling or whatever, and just wanting to rebrand yourself as a professional, trying to get into the workspace to begin with, trying to remain relevant, promotions, whatever. Hopefully today's session will cover that for you. I will be referring to my laptop, which is down here, so I'm going to keep moving away from the camera. You'll excuse that. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I'm not going to be regurgitating the stuff from the top of my head. I will be referring to my trusted notes as usual. And like I said, I really like keeping these short and straight to the point. I would love to go on and on and on and on and on, but time and commitments, and just to compact things and get straight to the point. So basically, what I want to do and what we're going to cover, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. We all know what a CV is. Apologies if there are people who don't, and I need to appreciate that this platform is for everybody. So basically, your CV is just a representation of who you are, a written description of, I would like to say, and I like to call it a brand. So in the same way that products are branded, and the owners of these products or the people who push these products want this product to be associated a certain way or represented to the market a certain way, or for the market to receive it in a certain way. It's the exact same thing with your CV. It's a representation of your brand as an individual, as a professional. So perhaps going into it, think about it like that. How do you want recruiters? How do you want people who are in that space, people who are hiring? How do you want colleagues? How do you want people that you want to engage in business with to more or less view you as a professional? How do you want them to connect? Because think about it, more times than not, the people who are viewing your CVs don't even know who you are, in terms of just personally having seen you. So this is a document that basically sells you to whoever you wanted to be reaching, right? Simple, straight to the point. Also gives you some sort of what's the word, motivation, encouragement, to make sure then that it is aligned with your personal professional brand, right? Cool. So I'm just going to do a content based, the do's, the don'ts, but also just start off with, I usually just say there is no right or wrong template or one size fits all template to a CV, right? A lot of people I know, I'm also in the business, obviously, of reviewing and getting people's CVs up to scratch and whatever. But I always say there is no one size fits all template. And there's anyone who's going out there selling that to you, but okay? But the idea is that there is a certain look and a certain feel that a CV must have. So I think maybe go with that as opposed to investing in money and chasing after this mythical template that is supposedly out there. There's plenty of templates, and we're going to go into perhaps what to have and what not to have, and how to tailor make your template, and then you can call it the best fit template. That's your business, really. So a few categories that are a must in your CV. I'll also go into the order because the order is important. Having done this for the short while that I have, and I'm sure a lot of people also who do this and have been doing this can tell you, especially at short listing stage, it literally takes you a couple of seconds to make your decision or to review a CV. So when you're putting it together, also have that in mind. Whoever's looking at it, especially if you're trying to apply for a job or enter some sort of market space, there's plenty of them. There's plenty of candidates. There's better, worse, equally qualified as you, but there's plenty of them. So the recipient or the person on the other end just wants to do the best job, but also do it quickly, right? We're all under pressure. We all have targets. And to be honest, we also get bored. We're human, so you don't want to be boring people. So from the get-go, you just want that first page to grab someone's attention and to more or less be interested in what the rest of it has. So keep that in mind when putting together your CV. The first thing that you need to have, and a lot of these categories, I'm going to say them, there's different wordings for them. So take your time, do some research, get back best practice CVs, call people like me to hook you up. But yeah, I'm going to start off with a career profile. A career profile is basically just a summary, usually 2 to 3 lines of who you are. I'm not going to, for the sake of time, give any examples. I really want to, and usually I like doing that because then I give examples about myself, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the categories, I'm going to give you the layout, then I'm going to do a quick summary of the do's and don'ts. Then what we can do is just have a look at your CV, see if it takes those points, do a bit more research in terms of what other wordings are what's the word? What other wordings go into a CV, right? One thing to also keep in mind is that you want to include doing words. So look up doing words also. That's something that people know what doing words are. And that's how you start describing your roles and responsibilities, your duties, etc., etc. I'm going to get into that. Once you've done your career profile or your summary, career summary, whatever you call it, we're going to get into your biographic details, your information, personal information, whatever you want to call it. To note here, guys, please stop adding unnecessary things here. You have a name. Depending on the recipient, you can include your date of birth. It's really not necessary. Contact information, obviously, we need to know where to find you, how to get hold of you. If you know you're one of those people like myself who hardly answers the phone or is always busy, have an optional or second contact and let that person know, because this is not a lie, guys. Like, even this past week, right? This past week, I've called 2 people or so. Turns out it's their second emergency contact, whatever you want to call it. And that conversation didn't go too great. Let your people know to expect calls from potential employers, from potential clients, from potential people who want to do business with you. So they're also ready, right? Cool. And like I said, another thing to remember here, especially with email address, please try to keep your email addresses professional. This is a representation of who you are. So, guys, we're seeing things out here. Go sexy 001. There's nothing wrong with having like a AKA or whatever, but use that for your personal interests, right? In your CV, you want something professional, simple, straight to the point. When you open an account anyway, they'll give you like a default bmufahote, Gmail, boyang.m, whatever. Just use that. It's simple. It doesn't turn people off, and it just says you're trying to be serious about what you're doing, right? And like I said, keep the details minimal. No one wants to know about your marital status. No one wants to know how many dependents you are. If anybody's going to do business with you or hire you or take interest in you, they'll ask you those things, if at all it's necessary, at some other point when you're meeting or when you're interviewing. So just keep it minimal. Your driver's license needs to be in there. Perhaps also, depending on where it's going, you can include your MAN number, your passport number, etc., etc. But please just keep it minimal. Marital status. Stop it, guys. Okay, then I'm going to move on. Obviously, you're going to want to include your educational qualifications. This, like the roles and responsibilities, is in the order that you've had them. So if you're currently studying, that's right at the top. Your last qualification that you attained, right at the top. And I'm going to stress this one very quickly because I see a lot of people getting it wrong. If you have been involved in or did some sort of thesis, dissertation, research project, or whatever qualification, whether it's your diploma, your degree, your master's, your PhD, please include the topic under the qualification, right? I mean, this is a lot of time that you invested in something that is obviously a product that you're proud of, and people want to know about it. People want to know how your research and whatever it is that you did in that area will contribute to whatever space they're in, whether it's employment, whether it's some project or anything. So make sure you include that. Obviously, you're going to include the year that you qualified. Depending on where you are, I usually say, of course, if you're still in school or you're a recent graduate, include the modules also that you were doing in school. You can include the grades. Really doesn't matter. Grades also come in very handy, especially for graduate trainee programs. You want to be standing out and showing that your GPA or whatever grade system that you use, you want to include that so that you stand out. You're seen to be on top of your game, and also sometimes it's a requirement to meet a certain cutoff in terms of graduate training programs. What else am I leaving? Education. Please stop putting in primary school. If you have a tertiary qualification, and this is not to take away from anyone, include that. Maybe you can include high school. We don't want to know what nursery you went to. I highly doubt anyone is interested. The idea is, where do the actual concrete qualifications start? Obviously, if you don't have a tertiary education, and I am aware that people who are tuning into this channel are different categories, and I appreciate that, I love that, then include that. What school did you go to? What year was it? Etc. etc. Great educational qualifications, you're sorted. Some people would add here trainings. Like I said, there is no right or wrong way, but you just want to highlight the important areas. So you can include your trainings here, but I'm going to cover the trainings and certifications, etc. a bit later. Then I'm going to get to the key point right now of your whole CV, which is your work experience. Like I said, if you're a recent graduate, I do encourage all the time, guys, please take up some sort of volunteer work at your varsity library, work in the school cafeteria, volunteer with your church, your, I don't know, whatever, meets hell or organize baby showers. Those are things that are going to more or less make up for the fact that you don't have concrete work experience. And you include that because it shows that even when you're still in varsity, you haven't graduated, and perhaps you don't have that opportunity to gain formal employment, but you're still doing something to prepare yourself, gain the skills, gain the qualifications, the experience, expose yourself to the working world, etc. And then you include that. But if you're already in the working space, like the rest of us, then this is like the part where you go wild in your CV, right? So firstly, obviously, you include what you're currently doing or what you last did, right? That's what we want to see right at the top. And then everything that you've done before that will come right at the bottom, right? Because obviously the most recent is more or less the most representative. So everything else, your past work experience, you're going to have in past tense. So worked in, trained in, facilitated, blah 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 blah. Because it's done. You're not doing that stuff anymore. And then the roles and responsibilities, you can call them duties. You need to outline, not in so many. Don't go and copy and paste your job description. Just summarize the main roles and duties. What is the purpose of your role? And for job seekers, if you're applying in response to an advert, like I always say, I always say this, but obviously because this is like my first video, you would have never heard me say it, but I do say this. If you're responding to an advert will most likely have the requirements. So you align it with the requirements of the role. If there are certain things that you've done that you don't necessarily feel are in line, keep them out, or maybe just include them. But the idea here is to keep this thing as compact as possible, as powerful as possible, and just as summarized as possible, but representing what you have done. If you're going to include your achievements here, please make sure you do include your achievements, because this is where you shine. This is your CV, boss. Your achievements, if you're going to include them in this category, make sure they stand out, right? The first page, or whatever page they're in, just make sure they stand out, whether you're going to bold them or whether you're going to keep them in a separate thing. So the idea here is that yes, you're an employee, yes, you have a job description, yes, you have responsibilities, but what else are you doing above and beyond your normal work, right? So what projects have you completed? What big business have you sold? What awards have you gotten at work? What committees and special projects are you working in? You're not, I know some people are working for the sake of working, but if you are in that space where you don't want to just be I am hereby, these are the type of things that you look into, right? So your employment, your work salary, your work summary, obviously you're going to need the title, how long you've been there. You can include the organizational name. Obviously the role will sell us or sell whoever's on the other end what you're doing, and then be very descriptive about the roles, all right? I've already covered that. I'm a bit panicky because I'm looking at the time and I really didn't want to go over 15 minutes. So let's just keep going, right? You need to include whatever certifications and professional development you've done. So trainings that you've attended, professional memberships that you're part of, professional membership Skibo. And I hope this doesn't violate any copyright issues or whatever. But if you're a member of BK, if you're a member of BO, what am I a member of? HR Society, all those things, all those nice things that set you apart and show that you're actually in your field. You do run in those certain circles. Whatever extra educational qualifications that you've done that are not necessarily related to your varsity experience or work experience. So your advanced Excels, Excel, yeah, but included your advanced Excels, your first aid, your whatever, training of trainers, hoy it in there. It is who you are, it is what you've done, and it is what you're going to contribute to someone else or your own organization, obviously, because this thing is twofold, most, right? I've already touched on this one. So if you have any honorary achievements, include your extracurricular activities. So what volunteer work are you doing? What mentorship are you doing? What leadership positions are you sitting in? And I put here that this area should literally just scream, I'm a leader, I'm the boss. Like I said, it's your CV. Sell yourself, all right? So a couple of rules: if you do not have work experience, include your, obviously, like I already said, extramural activities, the positions that you hold in school, in the community, in church, volunteering, Sunday soccer, all those things. And then obviously you're going to get to the skills and competency section, which I don't want to get too much into because I want to allocate a separate video just to this. Yeah, guys, I can talk about skills and competencies until the world ends. So I'm going to give it a special segment soon. I'm not committing myself to anything. Clearly, that's getting me into a lot of trouble. And then obviously, the last part is your references. I cannot stress this enough. Guys, please stop this thing of request. What? Nothing. References available on request. No, boo-boo. Who has time, honestly, to go and call you? Boyang, hi. We have a position that we would like to engage you on. Please, can you send your references? Please stop that. Get your people that you've worked with, stakeholders, people that you liaise with on a daily basis, people who can speak positively to you or about you as a character, as an employee, as a business person, as a stakeholder, as a community leader. Get 2-3 people, put their contacts, obviously also let them know, right? To expect calls whenever, because you also don't know when people are going to be wanting to get a character reference on your behalf. So please just stop this thing of, especially, and I know this is going to sound wrong, but especially if Osanzoleko, junior positions, still in school, guys, don't get touched when I say these things. It's the reality. And I think another thing that I'm going to want to stress a lot with this channel is I've said on both ends of this whole career hiring table, as an employee and as an employer. So I really just want to be as transparent as can be, also to just be real and realistically just let y'all know what happens in these spaces, right? So make sure you do have those character references. Make sure it's people who can speak positively on your behalf in terms of what you've done, what projects you've worked with, worked on, your character, your skills. They are basically just that last tick box to push your CV and just corroborate what is in the CV anyway. So give them a heads up also. Don't include people because you want to. Give them the heads up so that they're also prepared. And when people call them, it's not a shock. I mean, Boyang, first of all, who that? Or, Boyang, me, speak positively about that one. No. So, two things that you must remember: inform them, and also stop this thing where you want to give people homework to ask for your references. I still don't get that. Can someone tell me where that came from? Because no, just stop that. So obviously, your reference or your referee, you're going to include their name, whatever role, position they're sitting on, or whatever it is that they're doing, and then their contact information. You can include the cell phone number, and I stress again, make sure they know, because that's who will call them. So include their contact information. You can include an email. It really doesn't matter. Different people use different approaches for getting references, right? Yeah, so I think that's about it. Quickly, I'm just going to do the do's. Obviously, I'm not going to do any don'ts because don'ts are the opposite of do's. So you just get this, do the opposite, and you'll know the don'ts, right? Okay, so your CV, be short, try to limit it to 2 pages. If you don't know how to do that, highlight your girl, I'll help you with that. Presentation, make sure it's proper text. Don't use these fancy texts where people are going to be struggling to read or keep up. Make sure the layout is proper, make sure it's aligned. Keep it as simple as possible. Obviously, depending on what area you are, you can include things like photos. I personally don't like photos, but I'm not the only person in the space. So also try to understand your audience. Where's this thing going? If you're a graphic designer, obviously you want to be train people what you can do so you can go wild with your CV. But if you're, I don't know, let me just give an example for myself because I don't want to be touching people in the wrong spots here. If you're an HR person, like, why are you having graphics and dancing things on your CV? Honestly. Okay. So simple and concise, straight to the point. Like I said, make sure it's a PDF or Word document. And make sure also when you send it, you've named it. So Boya Mufaute CV, Boyang CV. Don't just leave it there so that people can start guessing what could be contained in it, right? Think about the other person, guys. So neat, readable font, correct spelling, big one. Please, if you are going to do your CV, have someone review it. 2 eyes are better than one. Correct spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Please. One side only, don't do back to back. Obviously, this also now impacts when you're adding it as an attachment. Who's going to, right? So one side only, make sure there's nothing at the back. List what you've done, can include page numbers. You can't, life goes on whether you do or you don't. Highlight your accomplishment, big one. Begin roles and responsibilities with strong descriptive action verbs, right? So avoid personal pronouns. Let's be professional, guys. When I do a lot of people's CVs, I usually take away I. I understand it's your CV, so things like I did, just leave that. Just start with did, wrote, facilitated, trained, stuff like I trained. We know it's yours. Don't. I hope you get it. I know you get it, right? And yeah, modify your CV according to whatever requirements, whatever audience you're sending it to, and update it regularly. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you do in your area, in your field, in your space, whatever extras, make sure your CV is regularly updated as and when. But yeah, I think that's about it from now. I did say I could go on and on and on. I'm a bit disappointed that we went over 15 minutes, but I'll try better next time. The next video is going to be a collabo. So I hope you're excited about that one. I'm excited about that one for so many reasons. But you need to now come back again to check it out when it happens. But I hope everyone is staying safe. COVID isn't showing you too much dust, but that you're also meeting it halfway in terms of taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. But from me to you, it's a wrap. And yeah, I'll see you soon with that collab. Have a good day.